Let me cut the beginning. Okay. Let me cut the beginning. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Hey Justin. Hey Chloe. How are y'all?
Good. How about
You're
you?
doing good.
I'm good. I'm doing so good. Thank y'all for joining today. I'm so excited to get to talk to y'all. It's been a while. For those of you who haven't been tuning in lately, the last few weeks, I started doing these live stream videos for Care SMAs, for us to advocate for SMA. And what I've been doing is interviewing different people. And so today we have Justin and Chloe, and I'm very excited because they are my first interable married couple. So I'm excited about that tonight. So anyway, well, why don't y'all start telling us about yourself and where you live and what type of SMA you have, all that stuff.
Okay, sure. So my name is Justin Garrett. This is my wife, Chloe Garrett. We live in Lafayette, Louisiana. I have type 2 SMA. Would be considered a weak type 2. I have decent control of like neck functions. I can still eat without use of a tube, although I do have a feeding tube for like throwing up or for burping because my throat muscles aren't that strong. I can still breathe on my own without use of like a BiPAP or a ventilator, but my extremities, like my arms and my legs, are extremely weak. So like I can't lift up a cup or do anything like that for myself. Um, a little bit about us. We met in 2018 on Plenty of Fish. We got engaged,
8 months later.
yeah, on Christmas Eve that year. And then we were planning on getting married in April of 2020. And then COVID happened.
The world ended. So we ended up pushing it until phase 2 happened. And so we got married at the end of June of 2020. And time has sped by since.
Yes, that's crazy. Y'all been married that long. I thought it was around COVID. I was trying to remember, but yeah, that is crazy. So I don't think y'all said, unless I missed it. So where do y'all live? Tell us where y'all live.
In Lafayette, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. And have y'all lived there your whole lives?
I was born in Alexandria, Louisiana, and then moved to Youngsville whenever I was 10, and
Mm-hmm.
then moved to Lafayette for college. Uh,
I was born on the West Bank of New Orleans, in Harvey. And I grew up in Denham Springs from like 8 years old to 18. And then I moved here for college.
Wow, that's awesome. So y'all like Lafayette?
oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. No, we're staying.
I
Yeah,
do.
it's not too big, not too small. There's plenty to do.
Yes.
It's a restaurants.
Lots of good food too. I
Mhm.
like
We got people. Mhm.
for the food, and the people there are so nice too. I always say that every time we go. I'm like, the people here are just different in Lafayette. I love it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love it. So, yeah, a little history. Me and Justin met at NDA camp. We both went to NDA camp, and he was a little younger than me, but I was 15 my first year, so I don't know how old you would have been. How old are you now?
I'm 36, but I started going whenever I was 5.
Mhm.
So I went from 93, I think, was my first year, until 2018. No, not 2018, 2009, I think, was my last year.
Those are very different years.
Yeah.
We just
I know. I know, yeah, so you were a lot younger than me when I met you on my first year at camp. And so we've known each other a long time. A
Yes.
long time. It was just crazy, but it's been that long, but it has. So yeah, okay. So you told us some about SMA and that you have type 2. How old were you when you were diagnosed?
I was diagnosed at 17 months. So at the time, they still did not know the genetic markers that would cause SMA. So they initially uh, tried sticking a bunch of probes into my muscles and sending electrical currents in to see if there was potentially anything wrong with me. And then after that test, they eventually did a muscle biopsy, and that's how I was diagnosed. So that
Mm-hmm.
was at 17 months in 89.
Yeah, that's how they did mine too. I know it's crazy now that they can just do a blood test and know.
Yep, or even a saliva test now.
I know it's crazy. Um, Now, do you know anyone else like in your family that had SMA or no?
My great uncle on my mom's side had it, but he died in a boating accident before I was born. He had type 3, and he actually found out while he was in the Marine Corps, uh, and then he just all of a sudden started getting weaker, and then got tested. Uh, but again, that was before they knew what caused it, so they just had an idea of what it might be. Um, and then he never told my family. They didn't realize it was SMA until after I was diagnosed.
Wow.
And and then we don't know if there was anyone on my father's side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know it's so weird how it skips, generations. I wish they could figure that out, like how many generations it skips and all of that. But I know we found out something interesting years ago. You'll have to refresh my memory. Is it your grandma that's from around the Bulls Parish?
Yes, my
Okay.
grandma
And
Linda.
did we figure out her last name was Goche, right? Or
Hmm.
I thought so.
Actually, my grandmother and grandfather's last names were both Goche, but not related.
They're not related.
Yeah. Well,
They
that's
do now that they're married, but they're like biologically not related.
Yeah, they just happen to have the same last name.
same last name. That's funny. Well, my grandma used to always say, well, because we knew somebody else with Goche, and she was like, oh, we're not related to them. And I'm like, how is that possible? Because Cottonport's such a small town. But so but that is interesting though, because my parents are both from a Wolves Parish too, and um, do you know, I since then I have met well, I haven't met them, but I know of 3 other people from around that area, Bulls Parish, that have SMA.
Oh,
I know. It's crazy. And one of them had the last name of Goche too. Um, and so it's very interesting for sure. Because it's
wow.
such a small town. But yeah, that's crazy. So y'all told us, y'all have been married for 4 years and, um, tell us more since I've never done a married couple before. Tell us like how do y'all do everyday life? Like do y'all both have jobs? Does Chloe help you with your needs? All that kind of stuff.
So, yeah, we do both work. Basically our daily routine is we wake up at like 5:30 in the morning. I immediately start working. I am a software engineer. So I just sit up, get on my laptop, and then Chloe starts doing whatever she needs to get herself ready in the morning. Takes out our dog, feeds our cat, um, and then she'll work. And then if I need something throughout the day, um, I'll call for her to come and help me until our caregiver gets here at usually between 1 and 3 p.m. And then our caregiver will help me with anything I need.
I like how you keep saying our caregiver. Justin's caregiver. She doesn't take care of me. Sometimes she helps me. With silly things. But yeah, so basically I work a full-time job as well. So anytime he needs something, I've told my supervisor about our situation, so she's aware. And I will just go help him with anything he needs, from hey, can you move my arm, to hey, can you help me use the bathroom? Can I have a sip of drink? Things like that. So basically anything he needs, I'll help him with and then go back to work. And I work from home and Justin works from home as well, so that makes it really easy.
Yeah. So Chloe, tell us about your job. What do you do?
I am a virtual concierge. So our company is used as a benefit for that corporations can use for their employees. So their employees can use our services for free, and they will come to us and ask for anything from planning a trip to Greece to I need to find goats for rent to clear land in Washington. So basically I'll come into work and I'll have cases on my plate that I need to get done that day, and I'll just research for people who don't have time to do it because they're busy working. So it's definitely an interesting job.
Wow, that does sound interesting. That's awesome. So y'all are both at home jobs, but y'all both like work all day, like 9 to 5 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually work at least 10 hours a day.
Wow, that's crazy. Now, just do you, I don't remember, do you have, yeah, they have your bachelor's from UL, right?
I have my bachelor's and my master's in computer
Okay.
science.
I thought you had a master's too. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, that's another reason why I wanted to do this video, because I know there are so many people out there with SMA that, don't think that they can do it because it's so hard, but there's so many of us that have bachelor degrees and masters, and I think there's even some with PhDs out there. So you can definitely do it if you have the right people helping you. And you know how that goes. So you did tell me, so y'all do have caregivers as well, right?
Right. I used to have caregivers 24/7, and then whenever we got married, we reduced my hours to I think it was 75 a week. And then recently, uh, due to issues with Medicaid,
Policies.
yeah,
I wouldn't say issues, I would say policies.
yeah, Medicaid policies,
Uh,
we had to essentially voluntarily drop Medicaid. And then I got put on a separate program called SPAS, the State Personal Assistance Services, and they give me 40 hours a week.
Yes, well, that's good. I mean, at least yes, at least they give you something and did not drop you totally, thank goodness, because I know that'd be hard for both of y'all, with y'all working full time and everything, trying to keep up with everything. So that's awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about that later on, but as Justin said, like we all have caregiver services to help us with our daily lives, daily living, just simple tasks that other people don't even think of, that people have to, help us do everything, bathing, eating, dressing, all that stuff. And unfortunately, when the way the laws are in Louisiana, at least, if you get married, they want to take all this away if your spouse works and makes a certain income. And obviously, that's not fair because you should be able to marry who you want and not based on how much money they make or what kind of job they have. And you should still have the right to get caregiver services. So I know you definitely want to talk about that more later on in life in the interview. So I wanted to ask you about coming back to being married. Do y'all have a lot of people that ask y'all questions all the time? Like, Chloe, do you get people that ask you, like, what is it like being married to a guy in a wheelchair or anything like that?
I get a lot of like people in the grocery store telling me like bless my heart and stuff like that. They're like, "Oh, bless your heart." And I'm just like, "Bless his heart. He deals with me." I don't I get like super uncomfortable when people talk like that because I'm just like I fell in love. I didn't like I'm not doing a public service or anything like that. Um I have gotten like pretty weird questions just like from like the start of when we first started dating. Um Now it's just like, oh, so like what's that like? And my favorite is, how do you have caregivers in your home all the time? And I was like, how would I not have caregivers in the home all the time? Like, I don't know what I would do without Justin's caregivers.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, no, we've gotten some pretty silly questions, but it's mostly the questions do not bother me. I would much rather someone come and like ask me questions than just stare or assume that like I'm doing you a favor. Because anytime someone says bless your heart at this, like I've had at least three people do that where they'll like see me with Justin and they'll be like, "Oh, I saw you with the guy in the wheelchair," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's my husband." And they're like, "Bless your heart," and I'm just like, "Bless his heart. You don't know me. I'm a psycho."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I mean, I think a lot of people just aren't used to like seeing interable relationships, which is
Yeah.
mind blowing.
It,
And so it shouldn't be as unheard of as it is. Like yeah.
no. Oh, I know. I hate that when people come up to you and they're like, I mean, it's sweet that like they want to pray for you or they want to bless you or whatever, but it's like, we're okay. We're not like hurting here. I think some people think like we're in pain or something, like I don't know. I'll never forget the one time I was in Walmart and this man like chased me down and he gives me like a $20 bill because he said he felt sorry for me. And I was like, okay. I was like, I really don't need your money like this. And he's like, no, I want you to have it. I'm like, oh gosh. But, I guess that was just his way to make himself feel better. I don't know.
So did you take it?
And I tried not to. I was like, I don't want this. So you take it. He's like, no, I want you to have it. I want you to have it. And so finally, I just gave up arguing with him. And I was like, okay, thank
I'm
you.
glad you got your nails done or something.
Oh no, it's crazy though. Some people, and I know like I've never been married, but I follow Shane and Hannah on YouTube, and it's just crazy the things they say that like how people tell her she's getting paid to be married to him and just horrible things. I'm like, that's just not right. Like, just get rid
I
of
feel
it.
like it's very silly.
I know.
Like the amount of times I've seen like on their videos where they'll say stuff like she's just in it for the disability check. It's like, do you know how much a disability check is? Like she'd be the worst gold digger in the world if she was just in it for the disability check. Like I don't I
Yes.
$100 a month is so awesome.
oh yeah, go Hannah.
Yeah.
Like I don't that astounds me. I'm just like she loves him. Like let her love him, let him love her and let them be. But I also it's a
It,
public platform, so you can't like get rid of comments and stuff.
no, I actually got to meet them at the conference. They were awesome. They
That's
were,
awesome.
yes, I know. I was so excited. I was like, I just want to meet them. And then finally on the Saturday, we had been there since Wednesday, and finally Saturday I was able to meet them. And so yeah. So if they're watching, I'm hoping to interview them one day. But
Hi
well,
Shane, hi Hannah, if you're
oh,
watching.
I know that'd be awesome. So okay, so yeah, I know y'all said you met online. How long did y'all talk like before y'all actually met in person?
We,
It was like a month.
yeah, we talked on there for like a couple weeks and then we exchanged numbers.
It was like a couple days. And then we exchanged numbers.
Yeah.
Their messaging system wasn't like it's just not great. So we exchanged numbers and then we were texting.
For probably a month. Or so.
Yeah. And then we met at Starbucks for our first date.
That's cool. So like, did your caregiver bring you Justin, or how did y'all work it?
Yeah, my caregiver brought me, but she kind of stayed like a few tables away just to give us our space.
Mhm.
And it was actually part of what made me fall in love with Chloe because she was immediately like, "Hey, can I help you with your drink?"
Oh, that's sweet.
It just
Well,
seemed, I don't know, it seemed silly to wait for her to help him with his drink. I think she had stepped outside to take a phone call.
Yeah,
And so when she did, I was like, okay, well, he was like, okay, well, I need her to help me with my drink. I was like, oh, I can do it. Like that's not bad. So I did, and then do you want to say this word?
yeah.
So when he took a sip of his drink, some caramel drizzle came out of the straw and like kind of went on his chin a little bit. And so I helped him clean that up, and I think he was like really surprised by that I did that. But also like it was a crazy evening. We had our first date in the middle of signing night at Starbucks. So there were a lot of like
It was called Tactile Signing Night, which that particular Starbucks does one night a month. And we just happened to go there that
things
night.
that go there that night.
So there was a big group of like half of them were deaf, half of them were blind, and then blind people were doing sign language, and the deaf people were like essentially drawing signals on the blind people's hands to conversate with them.
Tactile signing
Yeah.
into their hands. But it was loud and people were running into us, understandably so. So
It was an interesting first date.
yes.
yeah, I bet it was loud. Was that hard for y'all to like talk because it was so loud?
Yeah, because I'm naturally very soft-spoken, and then Chloe is kind of shy when she first meets people. So
Yeah,
it's a little bit difficult to have a conversation, but we did do it, and now we're here.
Yeah. Look at us now.
I know, that's awesome. Well, Jessica, did you tell her, like, right when you started talking to her that you were just in a wheelchair and stuff?
He
Is that,
said that with her way too many times that I was the
I
same.
really thought he thought that I was dumb because he mentioned it in like every single conversation. Like at one point I was like, you know that like at this point, if I don't know that you're disabled, like I'm trying not to know. Like the amount of he like mentioned it in every single conversation. It was like in his profile on, it was like in his bio on his profile. Like he he basically introduced himself. Hi, my name is Justin. I'm in a wheelchair. Like it was he didn't, but like basically. And so when I showed up at Starbucks, I he had like been joking with me about it. And so when I showed up at Starbucks, I almost walked up to him and said, "You're in a wheelchair." But I don't think he would have liked that as much as he would now. I think he was just nervous. But
yeah.
yeah, he told me in every single conversation. He let me ask as many questions as I want. And I kept saying, I hope this isn't offensive. And he's like, you're not gonna offend me. Like just ask me the questions.
Mhm.
He was like very aware that like I was getting one day essentially catfishing. So
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I mean, I think that's the best way to go because I know we had this discussion at one of the meetings at the conference, and some people would say, like, they just don't say anything. And then, because they want them to, like, fall in love with them and not. And I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of a shock. Like, I mean, I'd rather them know everything before I kept going. But I
mhm.
guess the difference of it. So, well, what are besides y'all's jobs? I know y'all said y'all have dogs, right? Or a dog,
We have a dog and a cat.
a dog and a cat. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Well,
Mhm.
that's cool. And what kind of hobbies, like things, what do y'all like to do for fun and stuff?
We like to go out to eat. We like to go to movies, hang out with friends and family. We'll sometimes have a reading date night where we just sit next to each other and read books. Um, Chloe likes to crochet,
I like to
and,
make blankets.
and
Mm-hmm.
then I've started playing computer games again lately, so just been doing a lot of that.
Well, that's awesome. Well, like I said earlier, y'all have lots of good choices there to go out to eat and do things. And yeah, well, that's awesome. So, and what are some things, Justin, that you have like assisted? Do you have any kind of assistive technology or things you do to make life easier?
Yeah, so I, of course, have my wheelchair. I'll have a lift for my caregivers to use. Um, I have a shower chair. Um, let's see. We have a Tempur-Pedic bed that I can control with my phone. Um, we have multiple Alexa devices to control everything in our room, from the lights to the TV. Um, let's see.
Yeah, Alexas are the best.
Mhm.
Yes.
So, so like my video games, I use a program called Voice Attack for like voice commands in the games. I wrote some software for my own head tracker, um, for my computer. So like if I look up, it'll press certain keys. If I look down, it'll press certain keys.
So you don't use a mouse at all, you just use the
I,
tracker?
I use the mouse. It's just for like the keyboard. I can't reach it, so I
Mhm.
use the head tracker for some key presses.
Oh, that's cool. Do you have a Apple computer or no?
No, I have a Asus.
Yeah, what?
An Asus. It's a Windows computer.
Oh, it's a Windows? Okay. Because I was gonna say I can't really use my keyboard either, but on Apple they have like a little on-screen keyboard. And
Yeah,
you can
Windows
like
has one too.
you've used that before?
Yeah, that's what I use at work. Because with all the programming languages and stuff, you can't do too much with just head movements or anything like that. So I try to put the maps on screen keeping.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. I've gotten used to it. At first, it'd take me a little while, but now I'm like pretty quick with it because I've used it so much. Uh,
Mhm.
and y'all have an accessible vehicle, I'm sure, huh?
Mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
we have a 2022 Chevy Traverse, and we love it.
Awesome. I thought y'all had an SUV instead of a van, but I wasn't sure. Where did y'all get it from?
We got it from Superior Vans and
Oh, yeah,
Baton Rouge.
okay. I want to look at one. We're about to get one probably this year sometime, and I'm really thinking about a SUV because I've always had vans my whole life.
Mhm.
I really kind of want one. So, and I would like, because in our van, like I sit in the front, so there's only one seat in the back. So we
Mhm.
only can take like two people back there. So I would like something if we, like when we have my niece and nephews, if we can
Mhm.
have more space. So y'all like it? Y'all haven't had any trouble with it or anything?
No issues whatsoever.
We
It's
love
been
it.
amazing.
Awesome. Do y'all have the fold up ramp or it's in the floor?
It's in the floor.
To the floor? Okay.
Mhm.
Well, that's awesome. I think I want that too, because mine folds up and that we bring it for them to tighten it and all. And then like a few months later, it's starting to rattle again.
Mhm.
So I think I definitely want to get the in floor as well too. So you said you have a lift. Do you have a Hoyer lift or you have a truck lift on the ceiling?
It's It would be a truck lift, or if we lived in a house, but we have a frame that goes across our bed. So it's a ceiling lift that's not in the ceiling, but it's not mobile like a Hoyer.
Oh yeah, does it have like the poles that go down to the floor?
Mhm.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, that's what I had when I lived in my apartment. Yeah, because they don't let you obviously drill and all that stuff. Well, that's nice. Yeah, those are a lot easier than Hoyer sometimes.
Mhm.
Easier to use. Now, what do you do for travel? Do you have a travel list or what?
His travel lift's name is Chloe. So it was before we got engaged,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
That we went to physical therapy for Justin, and his physical therapist said, "All right, Chloe, it's time for you to learn how to lift Justin." And I said, "I'm terrified. What if I drop him?" And she's like, "You're not gonna drop him." I was like, "Okay, I believe you." And she taught me how, like, for the first half of his physical therapy, she taught me how to lift him safely, for him and for me. And I basically only use the lift when I have to like be very careful about how I get him into a seat. Um, and even that, like I can still do by myself. It's just sometimes it's easier to use the lift. But yeah, when we go places, I'm lifting them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a Hoyer I use to travel because my mom's older now, and so she can't really lift me by herself. So, but it's a foldable Hoyer, so it's not. I mean, it's still big and bulky, but at least you can fold it up and you can roll it, so you don't have to like carry it and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, well, that's cool.
I didn't
Well,
even know that was an option. Like a travel Hoyer. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I think it's MoLift, the company that makes them. So maybe I should look in and get one. They're nice to have in case you need them. I actually got mine when I was teaching school, to be able to use the restroom at school every day. They got me one to keep there. And then, so after I stopped teaching, I just kept it and I use it for travel now and stuff. So it works out good. But speaking of travel, do y'all like to travel? Do y'all like to go
Yeah.
places?
So we used to go to the L'Auberge Casino in Lake Charles every year. Or we went 2 or 3 times. We just haven't had time the past couple of years. We're going to New Orleans, just to go to zoo and the aquarium, this year in November. And then, yeah.
We're gonna eventually go on a cruise.
Mhm.
Fun. Well, y'all have to let me know about that. I've never been on one, but I want to go. So you all have to definitely let me know how the accessibility and everything is.
For sure.
Definitely.
That's awesome. Where do y'all want to go out of? Like out of New Orleans or where?
I feel like New Orleans would just be the easiest.
Yeah.
It's difficult to get most cruises out of New Orleans when they have to go like Port Canaveral or something.
Florida. Okay. Right. Then we'll probably have to go out of Florida.
Florida. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, my friend just got back from one. Actually, she went to Greece with her mom, and I was asking, I know, I was like, that's awesome. I was asking her about like when they stopped at the ports, and she said some you could just walk right off of, but then some you had to get the tender boats. That's the only way. So, like she said, there would have been no way for me to get off at some, you know, which is crazy. You would think they would all have those walkways, but I guess they can't at some of the islands. I guess it's not, yeah, it's not feasible. So I don't know. But there is, if y'all decide to do one, y'all need to contact Keisha or Harley.
Mhm.
Yeah, y'all know they do cruises all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah, they could probably tell y'all. Great thing to do, especially for the accessibility and all of that stuff. So Judson, are you currently on any of the SMA treatments or no?
I tried to take Spinraza, and then I was on the table to get my first treatment, and they decided to do an X-ray for the first time. And then the doctor was like, "Oh, I didn't realize you have spiroids. We can't give you Spinraza." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well, they said that they would have to do a cervical injection.
The one in that.
Yeah, they would have to do an injection through his neck, but they were like, we don't have anyone on staff who's able to do it, so we can't do it today, but we'll let you know.
And I never did.
Not only did they never let us know, but also like you were kind of nervous about getting in the net,
Yeah.
understandably.
So then I started taking a RISD, but that was giving me serious like stomach issues, gastro issues.
Really?
So I had to stop taking that, and then I haven't taken anything since. So I'm just looking into some of the upcoming treatments, but I'm not taking anything currently.
Really? See, I've taken both. I've taken Spinraza and Erisdi, and thankfully I didn't have that problem with Erisdi, but I have heard of a lot of people that had stomach issues with it. But yeah, just to let you know, I'm back on Spinraza now, and I was getting it cervically too. And yeah, it was scary, especially when they tell you all the risk and what could go wrong. It's really nerve-wracking. But I did it. I did it for 3 years. And then the doctor that was doing it passed away. And so he was the only one that was willing to do it cervical. So now they have another doctor who's doing it. And even though I have rods, he's still able to do a lumbar puncture. Which I didn't know he could do that, but they put me in the CT machine and they use the CT guidance, and he puts me on my side and he goes through my side, like into my spine. So I don't know, but I'm not the only one. There's a few others that have rods too that are completely fused that he's doing. And to be honest with you, I like it better than cervical because I mean I feel a little pressure sometimes, but that's it. I've had a really good experience, thank goodness. But when I had it cervical, sometimes I would feel like it was all going to my head, like I had a brain freeze. It was a weird feeling. Yeah. Yeah, but this I don't feel much of anything. So if you're interested in getting back on or anything, just reach out to me and I can get you all set up. But yeah. But did you notice when you were on the Resti, did it seem to help you? Did you notice anything different or?
A little bit at first, and then it kind of tapered off. And then just with the gastro issues, I just didn't feel that the benefits really warranted the detriments, because I was just constantly throwing up and having to go to the toilet, and it just wasn't fun.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, see, I didn't notice a ton either with the Resti. Yeah, I haven't noticed a lot with Spinraza either, but I do notice it gives me more energy, especially right when I get it, and it makes me feel better, I guess I could say. And then I do notice by the 4th month when I'm due for it, it starts to wear off, you know. But they're trying to come out with a larger dose. So hopefully they'll do that soon. So it will last longer with us. And they're also coming out with a muscle drug too. Have you heard about that one? The shot? It's a shot.
No, I have not, but that's one
It's so, yeah, like the Spinraza targets more of our like nervous system, our spinal. And this one is just for like the muscles, to build up muscles and stuff. So I don't know. So it's supposedly we're gonna be able to take both, like either Arresty and that or Spinraza and that. So it'll be interesting to see in the next year, what they come out with. But yeah, it's crazy. And then of course, yeah, they have I mean not Arresty, Zolgensma for babies, and that is amazing right now.
Life
I
changing.
saw that conference that are running, walking, and it's amazing because we didn't get to see all that when we were kids.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's awesome to see that. So, and so I know, did you want to talk more about the policies in Louisiana about our benefits and being able to get married and all that stuff?
Yeah, sure. So basically, as a little bit of like information, whenever I was in college, I was on SSDI, like full SSDI payments. I was on food stamps. Um, my parents were helping me with my apartment because I was under agreement when I was in college. And then whenever I started graduated college and started working, I voluntarily dropped my SSDI and my food stamps because I started working. I didn't need those benefits anymore. And then, like I said earlier, once Chloe and I got married, I reduced my caregiving hours from 24/7 to just 75 hours a week. And
Because we just didn't need it.
yeah, that's what we needed to survive. Well, this past April, I got a letter from Medicaid saying that due to my and Chloe's combined salaries, we were losing all benefits. March, yeah,
Like February or March.
like fairly early this
Mhm.
year, we were losing services completely. And it's just baffling that, like, if I'm working, we only need the state to pay for caregiving services. If I don't work, like the state's saying they want me to not do, then I need those same services. I would need SSDI again. I need food stamps again. I'd probably need to be on Section 8. So by allowing me to work, I'm saving the money, but due to the current policies, we're punished essentially for trying to make a living wage. And it's just kind of baffling to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, we've talked to Medicaid themselves, we've talked to the Louisiana Department of Health, the US Department of Health. We've talked to senators, legislators, the governor's office. We got in touch with we tried to get in touch with the president, like just all kinds. And the only thing that they're not. I think that people's general like instinct is to like come up with solutions, and a lot of their solutions are, well, what if you just work less? And it's like, okay, but we've got bills. Okay, well, what if you sold some of your stuff, or what if you just like decreased your, and the mostly what I want people to know when they like start suggesting things like that is, first of all, thank you for trying to help, but also we've thought of all of this and like the ramifications of it, and the only thing that would fix it is for Medicaid's policies to be changed.
Mhm.
Because at this point, if I weren't here, if Justin was not married,
Uh-huh.
he would actually have to pay more. So basically what they wanted us to do was pay $1,840 a month,
I think so, yeah.
more than our rent and his car payment combined
Yes.
per month to keep caregivers. And we told them that's not feasible for us. And they said, well, what if you work less? Well, we still have those bills that we need to pay for. Those aren't going to go away if he works less. And so they didn't tell us that we were going to like lose our services altogether. They just said we have to pay $1,800 a month. And if we couldn't do that, then we would lose our services altogether. So when we were accepted onto the state personal assistance service program, we decided to just get off Medicaid completely because the policies hadn't been changed and it's going to take years to get them changed.
Uh-huh.
And so,
Yes.
and they had a spot open for Justin. So we had to take it before we had nothing,
Yeah.
before we had no services. So, but the thing, like, it's just surprising to me that you can put like taxes and things into a system that like you're not allowed to benefit from.
Like, for instance, if Holly and I were not married, due to my salary, my payment would have been $2,500 a month to keep services.
That's
40% of my net income.
I thought that was like 60% of your net income. It's a huge portion of his net income.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, a lot of people don't realize, like, first of all, you can't pay for that. Like, that no one can afford that
no.
every month. And then if I weren't here and Justin didn't have caregivers, like, what would happen to him?
Yeah.
And it's easy to like, I think a lot of people don't realize the extent of like Justin's need until I kind of explain it like this. Like, if you, so I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I have to help him like eat and like get dressed and use the bathroom and bathe him. But I don't think it hits home until I tell people like he can't scratch his itches. He can't like swat mosquitoes away.
Yeah.
And so when I tell people that, they're like, what would he do? And I'm like, exactly. Like, what would he do? At this point, like, even nursing homes are never an option for you, but they're not an option because he needs individualized care and they're not built for that.
No. No. Yeah. We need people with us all the time. And those institutes, all they do is it's like when you're in a hospital, they just come check on you every few hours. And that's not how it works for us. And I know, yeah, that's a good way to put it. I know it's so crazy. We have to do something to change this because I mean I know like I didn't find out about all those laws until I graduated from college and then I went into the workforce and I found all this out and I was devastated because I'm like, why did I just go to college and do all this work to get this bachelor's degree and then I'm not even gonna be able to use it, you know? It's so crazy. And I want that to change because I don't want people with disabilities just to give up and say, well, I'm not going to college or I'm not going to try to work, because they're so afraid of losing everything. Yeah,
And a
so
lot of times,
hopefully that's the best. Hopefully one day we'll be able to do something to change this for sure.
what a lot of like the people that we talk to, like the policymakers and the Department of Health, and they just kept saying like, Justin, we don't encounter anyone who like
Is
has,
disabled and wants to work.
yeah, and it's like I have encountered everyone I've encountered who's disabled wants to work, but they're just not able to. So they're talking about how rare Justin's case is, and I'm
And
just,
they keep on calling me a unicorn.
yeah,
But I'm a unicorn because their policies make me a unicorn.
it's just that Justin dared to get married and have a job, and now he's being punished for it. So
And I'm
it's,
still gonna do it despite what.
yeah, I mean, we have no choice.
Mhm.
I'm not leaving you.
Mhm.
And so, but yeah, I think that's the most infuriating thing about it is they're like, they talk about like how this is just like, I mean, they'll like say, oh, well, this isn't like, this is just affecting like a small portion of people, and no one's going to change a policy that's affecting like just such a small amount of people. It's like, the reason it's like, it seems like it's only affecting a small amount of people is because only a small amount of people are like, are speaking up about it, and it's everyone else has just kind of like accepted that these are the policies, and as much as we want to change them, it's difficult and it takes a long time. But it's also like the policies are making people with disabilities unable to work and get married. It's not that they don't want to, it's that they can't because of those policies. So it's very circular reasoning on their part. They're like, oh, well, you're a unicorn, so we're not going to change the policies. It's like, he's a unicorn because of the policies.
Yeah, really, yeah. And didn't y'all even go to the state capitol with us a few months ago? Yeah. So what all did y'all do there? What did y'all do the day y'all went?
We went, met directly with the Department of Health.
Uh-huh.
6 or 7 people from there.
And from like Medicaid,
Yeah,
like the
Well,
EMS representatives.
yeah.
Um,
State representative, and then a couple other people who you actually have in your stream.
Josh and
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
Mhm. Yeah. And what did they have to say? Like, what did they say to y'all?
They were essentially just like, well, your situation's unique and we'll look into it. And then we haven't heard anything.
And a lot of it is, oh, well, that's a federal issue and we're state, and then federal level wants to say, well, that's a state issue. It's like, can we get a breakdown? Can we get a breakdown of like who does what, and like, so we can talk to the correct person? There's just a
That's
lot of, oh, we can't do anything to help you, even though you're about to get kicked off Medicaid and not have any help at all.
yes. And I've noticed that with them. Like, if you have a problem and you try to call, they just want to keep handing you to a different person. And it's so frustrating. So frustrating. I know I had a scare last year. Last fall, the state sent me a letter saying that I was losing my program. And I like panicked, and I started calling. I called my caseworker first, and she's like, "Well, I don't know anything about this. I don't know." And so she told me that I called the state office, and of course, like y'all said, they would keep telling me, call this person, call this person. Well, I finally got this lady, and finally she would talk to me. And come to find out, she looked in the computer. They had accidentally typed in the wrong amount for my income. So like, it wasn't even my fault. It was somebody who was doing this job that accidentally made a mistake, and I could have lost all of my services like for the rest of my life. I was trying to be as nice as I could. She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go back in there and fix it. And I'm like, well, thank you, but like, I don't think they realize like how serious this is. Like this, like, yes, for sure. But I know. Well, y'all just keep advocating, and hopefully we're gonna all change this one day. I
Oh,
hope.
I'm gonna have like I'm gonna protest
Mhm.
in front of the Department of Health. I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know if I can even get enough people there, but I feel like that's the only way things are gonna change because people just don't know that this is happening.
No.
There aren't, I feel like there's not anyone that I've spoken to about it that has not been enraged.
Yes.
And they're just like, how is this happening? Like, this is crazy. And I tell them, yeah, it's because people don't know about it. It's because people have no idea that it's happening. And it's astounding. Like, and you don't know about it until someone tells you. If you're not experiencing on a daily basis, you just don't know.
Yes, it's true. It's so true. And I've also talked to people who have like children with developmental disabilities, and like after they turn 18, it's like, oh well, just put them away. Like there's no more services, they just like lose everything. I'm like, no, they're still humans. They need to live their lives. Yeah, it's just crazy. We've all got to do something to try and fix it, hopefully. I think the more we just keep getting the word out there, and hopefully it will eventually get fixed. I hope so. So now that we've talked about all of that stuff, is there anything else that y'all would like to advocate for the SMA community?
Hmm.
Any other topics?
Not that I can think of. I mean,
Um, that people with disabilities are worthy of love, romantic and otherwise, and that just because you can't do some things or you have limitations, it doesn't mean that you aren't a valuable partner.
Yes.
So I tell Justin all the time, like, just because I have to help you with things doesn't mean that you don't bring a lot to this relationship and that you aren't a valuable part of this relationship. So I think that a lot of people forget that. And I think that's like part of what we talked about Shane and Hannah earlier. And I think that like a lot of the comments that they get is people just not realizing that like Shane is a valuable partner regardless of what he is able to do and not able to do. And I
Yes.
think, and this part is for, I mean, this part that I'm about to say is for everyone with disabilities, but specifically for Justin, a lot of times Justin's disability looms so large in his head, like it's the biggest thing about him. And
Mhm.
I get that and I understand it, but he's in, I feel like in Justin's mind, he's a disabled man. And in my mind, he's my husband who just happens to need help with things.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people with disabilities could like benefit from hearing that. Like it's not your disability, as cliche as it sounds, it doesn't
yeah,
define
definitely.
you. It's and it doesn't like mean that you're less than, it just means that you have different needs. There are
Yes.
ways Justin takes care of me all the time, and I'm able-bodied. So it's I feel like a lot of people just don't realize that, and I think that's where a lot of the questions come from and a lot of the, oh, bless your heart. It's like he takes care of me all the time,
Yeah.
just like I take care of him. It's like a regular marriage in that way. Like we take care of each other. It's just that it looks different in our marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very, very good thing to say, for sure. Yes, and we all know Justin is a lot more than that. He's very smart for sure. And he likes
He's
to
like the
have,
smartest person I've ever met, and he's hilarious. And
yes.
he's caring and honest and open, and he's the best husband. You're the best husband.
Yeah.
And I love you. And so a lot of times I think that he just forgets that he's not a disabled person to me. He's my husband.
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of people need to realize, like, it's just, I feel like people with disabilities need to be told, like, you're worthy and you're worthy of love and you're a valuable partner and you can bring a lot to a relationship that's not physical. And that's okay.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Well, yes, that is a very good point for sure. So, well, I'm so happy that y'all found each other and that's so awesome. Yeah, because I remember Justin when he was young and I'm so happy. I always hope to have somebody good. So that's awesome. But well, all right. I guess we'll stop the interview for today. And if y'all wanna tune in next week, I actually know who I'm interviewing next week already. She's a friend of mine from around in Texas, around Dallas area, and she's actually a Mary Kay director, and she is working towards her first pink van for Mary Kay. So, which is like a very big thing because they've never done that before, an accessible pink van for someone. So that will be interesting to see her interview. But thank y'all so much for joining me, and I'm so happy I got to spend the evening with y'all.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and I'm glad we got to see you.
I know, I know.
It's been a minute.
I hope we get to see each other soon. It's been a while, so hopefully so. Well,
Yeah,
have a
absolutely.
good evening, and for those of you that are watching, I will leave this video up, so if you did not get to watch it live, you can watch it later on in your free time. And I will also include a link that if you feel like you would like to donate to Cure SMA, any donation is greatly appreciated. They help the SMA community a lot with support and research. They do lots of research for all these new drugs we've been talking about. So, yeah, so people that need, just click on the link and it's really easy to donate. And please share our video. So, well, I will talk to y'all later. Have a good evening.
You too. Thanks, Jana.
Okay, thank y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Right.